Hey, everybody.
No.
Hey, everybody. I'm Jalen.
I'm Casey.
And welcome to the Jalen and Casey Stories. Maybe wondering why we have this pet pig here. This is Tauntaun. Say hi, Tauntaun. Oink, oink. That's Tauntaun. That's our mascot now for the Jalen and Casey Stories. Apparently my face was not cute enough. We needed to add a pig.
Okay.
Maximum
That's
cuteness.
your insecurity.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so today's topic, we really want to talk. What is today's topic?
Man, you wrote the topic.
I did write the topic. Let me get my phone so I can read the word. I want to say it the way we wrote it down. Yes, marriage was not what we expected. And it really wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
So it's this whole thing about like perceptions and these ideas of what you think marriage is supposed to be about and what your responsibilities are going to be. And actually getting into the marriage and finding out it's a little bit different. So like, what were some of your expectations? What did you want out of marriage? When you thought about being married as a little girl, what did you expect from your husband? What did you expect to do as a wife? Like, what was your... This is what my marriage.
Honestly, I really don't know. Like, I don't think anybody really has a clear picture of what they want their marriage to be. I think for the most part, people want security. They want to feel safe. They want to feel love. And I think what a lot of people are reaching for is the emotion of that feel-good emotion. You know, what they perceive what love is being happy and satisfied and not having problems. We want the look of success.
And that's why we make these lists of what our spouse is supposed to be.
Right, exactly. So when we create our imaginary mates and we create a list of demands for our potential spouse, it usually comes from a selfish point of view of what we feel like we need or want to be happy.
What was on your list?
A whole lot of stuff, babe. A whole lot of stuff.
Do I match your list? Do I match 12-year-old Casey's list? I think I got another answer is no.
Okay, you're tall.
I'm tall.
You made
that was one checkpoint.
That's one check.
What was the other stuff?
Man, don't do that. Don't put me on the spot. Don't put me on the spot. Well, just know that I love you.
Well, no, the reason I want to go that direction is because I think when people talk about looking for the perfect spouse, it's like you're trying to look, you're looking externally, right? You're like, you're looking for someone else as if you're going to find somebody that's going to make your marriage perfect. And it's like, if I find this person, then I'm going to have a good marriage.
Yeah.
And what you really should be looking for, what does your good marriage look like? Now, what does your perfect spouse look like?
And I really think people don't really prepare or really truly comprehend the amount of work it takes to develop a good relationship. When we are dreaming about our dream spouse, you know, we're looking for that soulmate. You know, we want that energy. We want that automatic connection. And we want to have all things in common. And you know, this whole soulmate idea. But you have to understand that, like the word of God says, that he wants us to be in health and prosper, even as our soul prosper. And we do that by renewing our minds to the word of God. And I just went to church on y'all, so hope y'all catching that. Okay? So, in order for you to have a prosperous soul or for your life to prosper, you have to renew your mind to something, right? So the process of renewal is training and learning and implementing things. So this idea that we're going to go into a relationship that is going to fulfill all of my needs and is going to be just perfect and nothing's going to be wrong with it is really a lie. It's really, it's not the truth at all, because you can't get out of something that you don't put in. You know, so here you are, you're dating, you're engaged now, preparing for the future. But in a marriage, once you get married, it's a whole different world. Like who you are as the person you're dating versus the person you're engaged to, you're a whole different person once you get married. And I don't think people really understand that marriage brings out the best and the worst in you all at the same time. So it really sometimes can feel like a ball of confusion.
Yeah. Well, now we gotta give some examples. This is Jalen and Casey's story.
Yeah.
So we gotta give them stories of like, what was it? So what did we expect?
You go first.
Getting married. What did we expect?
You go first.
What do we expect? So here's my thing. I actually didn't have like a list. I had preferences, like, okay, I like this skin tone. I like this body type. I like this build. I like this height. Different things. But I was kind of like open-ended. Like, I'm going to try anything.
You was open-ended.
But so it wasn't so much about what kind of like model wife that I thought I wanted or expected. But there was what I expected the marriage to be like. And I don't think I ever imagined marriage to be difficult. And by difficult, I don't mean like, because I think when you hear difficult, you're like, oh, so that means you argue all the time. That means it's like infidelity. That means it's hard to stay married. No, what I mean is I didn't expect it to be work, I don't think, all the time. I just thought it would kind of come naturally, be easy. Like I would just be good at it and my spouse would be good at it.
Yeah.
And any mistakes that I saw my parents make, I was marking a list because I was just so perfect and so wise. I was like, yes, I'm going to avoid making those mistakes and making those missteps. I see what you're doing wrong. I see what you're doing wrong. I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to have a wife who's not going to do that. We're just going to be perfectly fine. And it just didn't work out that way because once you get married, you find out, you learn about yourself. You find out about yourself. You find out what you got going on, what you don't got going on. And all your personality traits come out because you're living with another person. See, when you're living with you, everything seems normal about you.
Exactly.
And then you get married to somebody else and they don't find your stuff normal. But they find their stuff normal.
Even when you're dating someone and even in the whole engagement thing, you are really constraining yourself. When you're with that person.
You're in your best behavior.
Yeah, you are. You're in your best behavior. And sometimes without realizing it, you are constraining yourself. You're not really giving the full 100 of who you are, your personality, character. Because it's really hard to, because it's like, you don't go outside the house naked, right? At least if you got some common sense. You don't go out the house naked. You go outside clothed. You prepare for the day by putting on clothes. You
cover the embarrassing and unseemly bits about you.
Exactly. But when you are married, now you are naked. Literally, physically, and mentally, spiritually. You have to strip yourself now and be seen by this person.
And sometimes what's seen is not necessarily in shape. That's deep. Yeah.
That is deep, but I'm you know how my mind goes, babe.
Okay, we're talking about the emotional attack of it. I'm saying, so basically, look, you're out of shape. You don't go out naked. You don't go out naked at all. But the same thing in marriage. Once you reveal it, it's like you're not necessarily in the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual shape that you think you are for marriage. And it was all right with you, being all right with the other person. And see, so here's what I didn't expect about marriage. I knew that I had responsibilities as a husband, but I wasn't altogether clear on what those responsibilities were and what she needed from me. And that's the big thing. It's one thing to come into marriage, saying, I'm all in till death do us part, rich or poor, sickness and in health.
And those are the basics.
Yeah, that's good. And you could say that and have the vows to go in there. But it's like, you don't necessarily know what is required of you. It's not just required of you to show up and be here. Because you can be happy, you could be married for years and never get a divorce, but not be happily married. So what is your expectation? Because you'll get in there and just go through it unhappy because you don't know what it takes to be happy. So I didn't realize what all it would take.
Sometimes you would accept unhappiness thinking that that's just the way marriage life is and don't expect anything more, because we've heard that too from people. They would say, once the honeymoon phase is over, then don't expect it to be that way anymore. Your sex is going to be dry. It's going to be mundane. Y'all
gonna get out of shape.
I mean,
don't look good no more.
It's just a whole lot of negative things that we heard before marriage from other people who been married for a long time. So you kind of learn to expect, and what happens is we anticipate the honeymoon phase, but a lot of us don't even know what the honeymoon phase is. Well,
I think personally for us, because we felt like we were so enlightened and wise, I think we kind of were like, we want to head that off. We're not going to go into it thinking that it's going to be a fairy tale fantasy. but still we weren't prepared for what it was going to take to build a good and happy marriage. I think we kind of thought, because we have proper expectations and because we were grounded in the word and we were raised right, and we came in as virgins and everything like that, we kind of thought that we had built in all the necessary things to have a good marriage. We didn't know that it would still be a challenge, that we was still a lot of work to do and a lot of things that we had to be unto each other, that it wasn't going to be default, that it was just going to be good. And I think, as you get into it, you see problems with your spouse and you start critiquing them and criticizing them. And then it's like, well, what's wrong with you? Like, I thought coming into this that we were just going to be fine. Like, we were just on the same page. But it's not about that. You understand?
Yeah, because you don't realize just how much baggage you come with sometimes. Even to yourself, you're blind to how much baggage you come with. I mean, we all come from different backgrounds and family issues and stuff like that, and we may think I'm okay because you learn how to cope with your life as a single person, and you deal life. But now that you're married,
well, you bring all that with you.
You bring all that with you, and now you gotta be transparent, because now you're creating this oneness. You're becoming one person, and some of that baggage that you brought to the marriage is not gonna be able to fit into this new mold of your union as one, as marriage. So that stuff gets exposed, and it starts to screaming, it starts to yelling and hollering, and you're like, what in the world? I didn't realize just how deep rooted some of my emotions were. I can remember maybe 3 or 4 months into our marriage, kind of having an emotional breakdown. There was a lot of things going on, before we got married. Won't get into that, but I had just kind of let it fester. I just kind of bed it down. I wasn't really dealing with it, and I can remember just sitting on the couch one evening, and I would just start bawling. You were just like, what did I do wrong? Like, wow. And it was an emotional roller coaster those first few months, almost a whole year for me, processing through my emotions and, trying to live up to different expectations of what I thought a good wife was going to be. Because, I was raised with a mother that, in my estimation, was the perfect wife. She raised her children to love God, and she was orderly. She cooked all the meals, and she kept a clean house. She tended to my father and ironed his clothes, and not only that, she also pastors. I mean, she counseled other women. I mean, she taught other women how to cook, and she was just this ultimate wife mother to me, and that was my perception. And me, and along with my other sisters, she taught us how to cook and clean and keep house, But I can remember, like, as I got into my teenagehood, early adulthood, I found myself not wanting to cook. I didn't like cooking. I didn't want to cook. And I can remember having really problems with that. And I went to my dad and mom and was like, look, I don't want to cook. I'm not married. I don't have any kids. I want to focus on my career. I don't want to have to come home and prepare dinner and clean house. I'm not your wife. I'm not, I don't want to do that, Dad. And because in my home, I had the responsibility to cook a couple nights out of the week. It was my job to prepare dinner and stuff. Anyway, making the story short as possible. But
ready for that. Continue.
But I didn't want to do it no more. I was single. I'm like, I don't want to do this. So from then on, my dad was like, okay, you ain't got to do it no more. But I used to get kind of picked on. And I was told, I don't know how you're going to make it when you get married. I don't know how your husband's going to eat. And, they would laugh about it. But for me, it hurt me in my heart, because I was like, I know the kind of person I desire to be as a wife. Like, I am going to be a good wife, but I just don't want to cook now. So once I got married, because it was a running joke in my home. So once I got married, I felt this need to prove that I could be the perfect wife. I had this need to prove that what they said about me was wrong. And so I can remember, like, I was cooking a lot when we first got married and da-da-da-da. But I burnt myself out. Like, I burnt myself out, and I don't cook as much anymore. Like, I still cook, you still eat, but I was trying to live up to what I saw my mom do. And we had to sit down and discuss what our expectations were for each other, and what you required of me and what I required of you. And, you know, we had to find that balance between us two, and we couldn't become a clone of what we saw our parents do that works for them. But for us, it doesn't work the same way. And
so from on my end, for me, what I saw growing up was a good man was a man who just provided everything for his household, and your wife shouldn't have to worry about money. It comes on you, and something missing, you work and you work and you work until you make it happen, you know. And what made our first year challenging for me was that we had a lot of financial struggle and financial tightness, you know. And so it was just really just making it, you know, that first year, the first few months, like making it, you know, by faith. And we had some challenges, and it wasn't, and I couldn't uphold everything financially by myself. I needed her help. And that bothered me, not because I had a problem with her making money. And I wasn't a man who was just like, oh, you shouldn't make money. I didn't make all the money. It was just, I felt like it was my responsibility, and I was failing somehow in not being a man if I couldn't do it all by myself. And I had to quickly learn, and it didn't take me long to learn a lesson, but I had to quickly learn that we were a team, and that this is the season that we're in, and that's fine, and that's it. We're going to do this together, and it's going to be what's going to be. But to give you a picture of what I wanted to come into marriage rich, millionaire, house, car, everything, paid for, everything done. I wanted like to go find a wife and bring her into my wealth, and it was like, whatever you want, gifts, I can just shower on you like that, and that was it. Like, I didn't need you to do nothing, you know, for as far as money goes. Like, I wanted to be able to provide. That's just what I needed for my own personal fulfillment, I felt like. And so when it didn't come out that way, and we were well counseled, you know, my pastor counseled me and told me that, you know, wherever you start, you don't gotta wait till you rich to get married. You know, you can start where you are. Y'all can work together, so long as y'all doing the will of God together. You know, do whatever you need to do. And I had to learn that lesson. So, you know, you're in trying to be the perfect wife, me trying to be the perfect husband, you know, we came in with this idea of this is what it means to be that.
Yeah.
But what we learned now, especially this year, is that what we need from each other is not so much those things. The needs that we had that we've got to fulfill for each other are different and more intrinsic and more internal. And security I've got to provide for her has less to do with finances and more to do with my emotional connection with her and understanding who she is.
Yeah.
And more what I need from her has less to do with her, you know, being that perfect housewife type thing, and being more attentive to what my needs are, sometimes on a physical level or on an attention level, on an affirmation level. You know, there's needs that we have that we can fulfill for each other that have less to do with the external and more to do with the internal. And once we realize that, it doesn't matter about the amount of money that you have or who's making what. It doesn't really matter about, you know, how much you're doing around the house. You know, all those things fall into place once those actual intrinsic needs are met. And we be those things to each other. We're supposed to be as husband and wife.
I really think that what has really caused our marriage to be successful up to this point is our communication. Something that we promised from the very beginning, that we would never lie to one another. We would never fake anything. We will always tell each other the truth, no matter how hurtful it may be to our emotions, but just know that we love each other. And I'm only telling you this because I love you. And we've talked about some really hard stuff. I mean, it has not, even recently, you know, we had a hard conversation and I was crying. But at the end of it all, I was glad that he shared that with me, his feelings about this particular thing. And it changed my perspective of what I needed to do to help him and to help our marriage. Because we've learned that when either one of us have a problem or issue, it's not the individual's problem, it's our problem. Because we're one, we're a union. So if he's broken, I'm broken. If I'm broken, he's broken. So we make it a point to help fix each other.
And as far as the natural things, we talk about some of the stuff like you do around the house, stuff like that, because we're a team, it's not like, all right, the house ain't clean, that's your problem, and I get on her. Like, no. It's like, okay, if we're overwhelmed, because look, my job is I go out and I go like 9 to 5 job, you know, and there are some days where she's home. So what I used to think or what I used to see portrayed, whether it's on television or whatever, is husband come home, and if something ain't done, then he's mad, and it's our responsibility to make sure that everything's just perfectly right when he gets home. Same time, if a man comes home and then the woman needs to spend time with him, but his complaint is, well, I've been at work, and it's like, well, no, we're a team. So since we're a team, if anything's going lacking, let's find out how we can make it work together. All right. So when I found out that there was certain time that she needed from me when I came home from work, instead of being like, well, now that I'm home from work, I've got to do this and I've got to do that to make sure it's taken care of. Let me figure out how I can handle stuff on the top end of the day. So when I come home, I can give all my time to you and I ain't got to be dividing it amongst other business stuff. It can just be you and me because that matters. And, you know, around the house, things like that. There's different things that we split. There are different things that I will do around the house because I just don't mind doing it.
Mm-hmm.
That helps her because I want to make her job easier. Because the more comfortable and less stressed that she is, the better wife she can be unto me. Mm-hmm. You know, when you talk about sex and things like that, if she's stressed, that ain't going to work. So what can I do to make your life a little less stressful? You know?
And it's vice versa. I mean, it's the same thing from here. You know, if I know that he needs something that help him be less stressed, that's better for our relationship, that he's less stressed, that he don't have to worry about those things. Like, for instance, I do cook for him daily. When we first before we got married, I asked him, what do you want me to do as far as cooking is concerned? He said, I need you to cook me breakfast every morning if I go to work. Because for me, breakfast is the most important meal. Yeah. So that's what I do for him. I cook every morning breakfast for him at 6:15 every morning for him, except for Fridays. Because I did ask him, can I have Fridays off?
Fridays off.
But he does have a meal. He does, you know, I make sure he has something that he can make quickly himself. But
so I
don't mind that because that helps him get his day started well, and overall that helps us. Yeah. You know, so I don't mind doing that.
Yeah, I should tell. I mean, because you're wondering, like, well, how does the food work? She does pretty much all the cooking, you know, and she does. One thing we were able to do to take pressure off is like, I told her, I don't mind leftovers, you know. If you cook something then, I can make that leftover for lunch and we can have it again the next day. I don't mind that. So that would take some pressure off.
No, he likes leftovers. I don't like leftovers.
If I like the Monday, I'm going to like it again on Tuesday.
He likes leftovers. He's leftover king.
Yeah, so I was like, you know, that could take some of the stress off. Always trying to, you know, have something like that because you do work. You work in a salon. You have your own business. So, you know, we make it work. And then as time goes on, we have children. We know we may have to reevaluate some expectations and do something different. The household responsibilities may change.
Take it day by day, because what you may start out doing in the beginning, you may have to amend that as 6 months or a year down the road because life situations come up, things change, and you have to be flexible. I would say learn to be flexible in a relationship.
You can't do something where it's like, this is my job, that's your job, and you stay in your lane, stay in mine, and if you don't do your job, pointing the finger at you, you don't do your job. No, stuff happens. Sometimes you're off your game, so something don't get done, then how can I step in and help you? Because we're on the same team. We're not against each other. We're on the same team. So if my ankle broke while I'm trying to shoot the ball, then I'm going to need you to step in and help me out, you know? So that's what we do. If everything that gets done, money, food, sex, whatever, everything that needs to get done, our needs in this household, we're in this together. And it's not, you're not doing your job, and I'm going to sit here and fold my arms until you do. No, we're working this out together. I think that's what comes down to expectations. We came in with these individual expectations of what we had to do and what each other was going to have to do without understanding how different it was going to be. Yeah. But now that we do understand it, we have proper expectations and a proper perception, we're much happier now. It's much easier to go with the flow.
Year 2 has been so far the best.
And it's so easy to communicate because we both know we're on each other's side and we want to win and succeed together. So anytime there's a critique of something, it's not an attack. It's just, hey, we need to do this, fix this thing so that we can exist and survive and win together, you know? So that kind of deep.
Yeah, I don't know if that was really the topic. I feel like we kind of went a little bit everywhere. Yeah. But we're real passionate about relationships, you know, friendships, marriage, business relationships. We're just really passionate about people and learning how to communicate and learn how to relate to one another the way the Word of God desires us to communicate. So that's what we're really passionate about. So, you know, when we get talking, it just flows out, it just comes out. But
hopefully that's helpful too.
I hope it was. I hope that it was helpful to you.
At Jalen and Casey, that is our Instagram handle.
Yes.
Check us out on Instagram at Jalen and Casey. We post about everything. We do a lot of reposts for marriage stuff. So if you're really into like marriage stuff because you want to have a better marriage or you're about to get married, follow us on Instagram. We're constantly posting about stuff. We also got our daily video blogs that we do now.
On IGTV.
On Instagram. So go to Instagram and then go to IGTV. On Instagram, you'll see all of our personal video blogs. We post about it all the time. All the links to everything we're talking about is in the description of this video below. Of course, like this video, comment on this video, subscribe to the channel.
Yes.
You cannot come here, watch the entire video, and not do one or all three of those things.
Oh,
Like,
no,
comment,
that's just rude.
subscribe this thing, and then share it to somebody. Like, share it on Facebook. Hey, I watched this. You know, make it plain that this is something that you enjoyed and it helped you in some way. We hope that it did. We love you guys.
Love you guys. Love you. Oh.
See you guys next time.